What happened to Assassin's Creed Mirage?
Look how they massacred my boy.
Before we get into this review, I just wanted to make sure to say that I do not hate Assassin's Creed Mirage. It just has a lot of issues, and I would love to go over it real quick. The first thing I want to go over is the graphics. The graphics were really good in this game. I honestly liked the look of most locations. The setting was really nice. It was a bit iffy at times because, like, most of the time when you're playing, you're kind of in the desert, like nowhere near the city, so you don't really get to see that much. But as long as you're in the city, it's really nice. And all the little towns that you go to have like key details that make them quite enjoyable to go back to and look around. Aside from that, the game ran pretty well. It had a couple crashes though. I don't know what was causing them. I think I got three throughout my whole playthrough, and I don't know what causes that. I don't know if it's because of enemies or is it just like the game can't handle it at points in times. But all in all, the game graphically was really pleasing, and I actually enjoyed the look of everything. Now that we got past that short tidbit, I would love to go into the gameplay. The gameplay was something this time around. I honestly didn't really like almost any of the gameplay. Like the combat system was really janky at times, and you're down to one real weapon now, which is really disappointing when you look at other games in the franchise. Like in even Assassin's Creed 1, at least you had a knife and the sword. But in this one, you literally just have the sword and knife. Like you cannot use any other weapon aside from the hidden blade in that, which is really disappointing because in earlier franchises they had more weapons than just one. And then even the game before this, you could play with like 20 different weapons. Like you could literally use shields as weapons. And it just feels so disappointing to go from so many different types of weapons to just one single thing you're going to be using. And I know people will say, well, you can use like different weapons at the blacksmith, but it's still the same attacks and they pretty much do the same thing, really. It's just a sword and knife, which is really disappointing when you look at previous entries to the franchise. And I don't get what happened. I don't know who decided to take it down this direction, but I really was disappointed with it. The second thing I really just did not like when it came to the gameplay was the enemy spam. I mean, there was so many enemies at points and times, and it was really obnoxious, and it was hard to deal with. Like, you feel like you're not even that powerful like you did in the previous ones. In like Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, you could literally wipe out a group of 10 by just pairing. And now you have to wait and hope that you aren't going to die in every single combat scenario to just one guy, which is crazy to me how it went from you can literally kill an army of like 20 to 30 dudes without having a single inch of like I guess resistance, and now it's you're just getting overwhelmed by just one to two dudes, which really frustrates me because I love the like you felt like a badass. You're an assassin. You're supposed to be this well-trained mercenary that can wipe out people without any type of trouble. And now you're kind of just some random guy that's walking the streets. The last part I want to talk about in the gameplay is definitely the stealth. The stealth this time around is decent at best, I would say. There's a lot of negatives to it, but it's actually still somewhat fun. Like, at least the enemies are one shot again, except the bounty hunters. I don't know why they're not. I guess it's just because they're supposed to be the challenge, so you can't one shot them anymore. So, whatever to that. But aside from them, everyone is one shot again. I really enjoyed the idea that you're actually able to kill someone by stabbing him in the neck and they'll die immediately instead of getting stabbed and being like, oh, okay, I'm fine, and just proceeding to fight you after. So that was one nice return. Another thing is, I think the stealth isn't all too bad, but at the same time, I feel like I'm playing one of the older entries to the franchise because the AI is so damn janky. And I mean really janky. Like, I don't. You'll kill someone right in front of someone, and they won't notice at all. But at other times, they'll be like three floors under you or above you, and they'll see you murder the dude, and it just ruins everything. Like the immersion just feels so dumb. And it really bothers me when it does that because I don't know how it happens. I don't know if they just set up the sensory for like the characters like seeing you terribly or what causes that. And plus the AI are even more dumb than you would think they are. You can do what you did in the old ones and just like hide in a haystack, just keep whistling and they keep coming and you can keep stabbing them and pulling them into the hay and they won't do nothing about it. And it's just like kind of comical at points in times because you would expect that the AI would be a little bit smarter than they were like, I don't know, 10 years ago. The next thing I want to talk about is the story. So if you guys don't want any spoilers, make sure to click ahead in the video. But let's get right into this. The story was pretty disappointing this time around. Like that's the nicest way of putting it. Like there wasn't anything of interest for me, honestly. Like when I was playing through the story, I didn't meet a single character that I can remember the name of. And the reason why this happened is because you only get to meet almost any character once to twice, which is like why? Why are you introducing so many characters and you only get to see them once or twice? And then they try to bring people from like, the past into the present that you only get to see once or twice, so you don't get why they're connected in any way. Like you meet a guy named Kong. The Kong is a person that is a merchant that you knew when you were younger, that you used to steal for. You see him, I don't know, 2 to 3 times, and the dude seems like an asshole. He doesn't give you any type of interesting dialogue about who your character was, aside from what type of tea he liked. Which I don't care. I don't care what type of tea Bassam wants to drink or what he enjoys drinking. Like who, I don't know who cares about that. But aside from that, yeah, there was just like no characters I can really remember the name of aside from Nihal, which is the girl that you meet at the beginning of the game that you do robberies with. Aside from her, I literally don't know a single other person's name. And it really bothers me that it was set up this way because I would love to have learned more about certain characters, but you only seen them once to twice, so you can't really grow that connection with them. Aside from that, I would love to talk about the Templars, but this is going to be its own little section because the Templar section really bothered me this time around. So let's get right into the Templars. This time, it's just really bad. I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like the Templar Order should just be removed. I don't think they have any good ideas when it comes to them, and it's starting to bother me how they're kind of just like a throw-in in every Assassin's Creed now, and they're really disappointing. But the reason why I feel this way is just because we don't get to learn who they are, and it's starting to bother me because I loved how the originals did it, where you would have cutscenes, you would actually meet them, you would get to see the actions that like why they're hated and why we should hate them. We get to watch all the terrible stuff they do. Like the rich guy in Assassin's Creed 1, he poisoned the people because they made fun of him for the way he looks. That is just so demented and makes no sense why you would do that, but it's actually built more character towards someone that you don't know. And at least it gains more interest that way. It's the same thing with Assassin's Creed 2 with like the dude that you fight with in the beginning. He has a rivalry with you and it builds on him being a Templar because his father was part of the reason why your family was killed, which makes it more like I need to kill this dude. I hate him. I have a goal in mind. But in this one, you read a piece of paper and you find out who they are. And it's just like that's so boring. I don't like the idea that it's all just on a piece of paper saying, "Oh, this is what they did. That's what they did." I would love to see it with my own eyes so I know how bad that person can be. But I don't think we've seen a single person do a terrible deed in front of you. I will say though, the last 1 to 2 hours of the game was actually quite enjoyable. I actually liked the story that time. Like you get to learn that your character just kind of has a lot of issues. Like Nihal is just a figment of your imagination. Like she's your moral compass, which I really enjoyed the idea of because like your character just had like a traumatizing past. So it added intrigue to him. And it was really interesting to notice like after you play through the beginning of the story and at like the end you kind of notice that she was never talked to, or she was never mentioned in any like conversations. Like when you're talking to Kong, like he didn't say a single word about her. He would only talk about you. So it makes sense that she was just like some moral compass for you. And then like the bad quote unquote creature in your mind is just like the your past. Like you just had to deal with your past, which I really enjoyed. And I'm excited to see what they do later on with the story in like the next title. I'm happy at least it ended with a good note, and I'm excited to see a return to roots again, even though this one was pretty disappointing. The last little thing I want to talk about is side missions. Side missions this time around were pretty dog shit. Unless you were really enjoying like tailing missions, escort missions, or eavesdropping missions. If you enjoyed those in the past games, you're going to enjoy it now. But I always hated those types of missions back in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Black Flag. Black Flag was the biggest culprit when it came to tailing missions, and I always hated those missions so much. But if you enjoyed that type of stuff, they're back. So if you want to play contracts, that's what usually they're based on. And usually they're mind numbing. You don't really think about anything. I think there was one side mission that actually made you have a cutscene and had a little bit of interest, but aside from that, yeah, that was pretty much it. The Tales of Baghdad was pretty cool. You really don't do much. There's not really much added to the story or like any interest. Like it just kind of like goes, oh, this kid wants to join the assassins because you saved him when he was younger, and that's pretty much it. Oh, this priest is digging up bodies because he wants to bury it somewhere else. Okay. This guy's at a village because he killed everyone in the village on accident. Cool. Like it's like stuff like that. If you're interested in that, you're gonna enjoy it. But I wasn't really a huge fan. I never really liked it. Even in Valhalla, I think it was excessive with like that type of content. That was just really boring. That's just kind of like throwaway content that I could not care less about. But the last little thing is collectibles. The collectibles actually this time around were kind of fun. Like at least the artifact stuff. Like if you love to learn about history, this game is perfect for you because every collectible has like a whole essay about how it was like crafted, what it did, or like who used it in history, stuff like that. And it's really cool because always enjoyed the idea around that. But aside from that, there's not really that many great side missions. So is this game worth buying? At this point in time, no. I would wait for a huge sale on this game when it's like $20 because honestly, there is not enough that is pulling you in this game. There's a lot of stuff I was missing in this game that I wish would have been brought back. When they said it was a back to the roots, I was excited because I was like, oh, we're going to be able to buy businesses again. I always enjoyed that. We were going to be able to get armor that just upgrades your health and stuff instead of having like an RPG element. I don't like the RPG element. Keep it away. Let them do it on the other games. But when it's going to be a return to roots, I want just the original base stuff like how it was before. And then the other thing is I wish they would have brought back you building your own brotherhood. That would have been awesome. I always enjoyed the idea of making your own army of like assassins and like leveling them up and having them have their own quests that you get to learn more about your own crew. Like that is really cool. Revelations did a great job on doing that, but this game didn't even build on that. So hopefully now that we're back at the like return to roots quote unquote, hopefully we can start seeing stuff like that again. But I wouldn't hold too much optimism towards it because we don't really know what they're going to be doing next or if we're ever going to get another title that is like the originals. But if you guys enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like and a sub. And if you guys have any suggestions for anything else to check out or review, make sure to leave a comment down below. But aside from that, I'll see you guys next time. See ya.